Both. Are both my hands on the table? Yes, both your hands are on the table. Are both these books open? Yes, both these books are open. Are both of us sitting? Yes, both of us are sitting. Mean. What does the word use mean in? The word use mean. What does the word who mean in? The word who mean in. What does the word which mean in? The word which means in. Language. European. Asian. Which language are we speaking now? We are speaking English now. Which language do you generally speak? I generally speak. Which language does he, she generally speak? He, she generally speaks. Is Chinese a European language? No, Chinese isn't a European language, but it's an Asian language. I haven't. I have not. You haven't. You have not. He hasn't. He has not. She hasn't. She has not. It hasn't. It has not. We haven't. We have not. You haven't. You have not. They haven't. They have not. Only. What's the negative of I have? The negative of I have is I have not. What's the contraction of I have not? The contraction of I have not is I haven't. What's the contraction of I have not? The contraction of I have not is I haven't. Have you 4 arms? No, you haven't 4 arms, but you've only 2 arms. Have you 2 hands? No, I haven't 2 hands, but I've only 1 hand. Has he only 1 hand? No, he hasn't only 1 hand, but he's 2 hands. Has she 2 noses? No, she hasn't 2 noses, but she's only 1 nose. Have we only 1 mouth? No, we haven't only 1 mouth, but you've 2 mouths. Have they 8 ears? No, they haven't 8 ears, but they've only 4 ears. Somebody, who, nobody. Both anybody and somebody means, but as with any and some, we use anybody for the interrogative and negative, and somebody for the positive. For example, we say, is there anybody sitting here? Yes, there's somebody sitting here. Is there anybody sitting there? No, there isn't anybody sitting there. Anybody is non-specific and has a non-specific answer, whilst who is specific and has a specific answer. Mrs. Brown, Mr. Smith, etc., or nobody. What do the words anybody and somebody means? The words anybody and somebody mean. What's the difference between anybody and somebody? The difference between anybody and somebody is that we use anybody in interrogative and negative sentences, whilst we use somebody in positive sentences. Is there anybody in this room? Yes, there's somebody in this room. Is there anybody speaking to you? Yes, there's somebody speaking to me. Is there anybody sitting there on that chair? Yes, there's somebody sitting on that chair. Nobody. Corridor. Is there anybody sitting on the floor? No, there isn't. anybody sitting on the floor? Is there anybody in this room wearing a hat? No, there isn't anybody in this room wearing a hat. Is there anybody in the corridor? No, there isn't anybody in the corridor. Nobody. Who's speaking French in this room? Nobody's speaking French in this room. Who's wearing clothes in this room? We are wearing clothes in this room. Who's wearing a hat in this room? Nobody's wearing a hat in this room. Who's giving you an English lesson? You're giving me an English lesson. Who's in the corridor? Walk. What am I doing? You're walking. Where am I walking to? You're walking to the window. Do you like walking? Does he, she like walking? The same as. Different from. Japan. Are your shoes the same as my shoes? No, my shoes aren't the same as your shoes, but they're different from your shoes. Are the French the same as the Russians? No, the French aren't the same as the Russians, but they're different from the Russians. Are your eyes the same color as your mouth? No, my eyes aren't the same color as my mouth, but they are a different color from my mouth. Do the people in Germany speak the same language as the people in Japan? No, the people in Germany don't speak the same language as the people in Japan, but they speak a different language from the people in Japan. Which is it right to say? People are or people is? It is right to say people are. This is the suit of Mr. White, or this is Mr. White's suit. We prefer to use Mr. White's suit and not the suit of Mr. White. Is this Mr. Brown's dress? No, it isn't Mr. Brown's dress, but it's Mrs. Brown's dress. Is this Mr. Brown's shirt? Yes, it is Mr. Brown's shirt. Is this Mr. Brown's arm? No, it isn't Mr. Brown's arms, but it's Mrs. Brown's arm. Stand up, sit down, up, down. What's my right hand doing? Your right hand's moving up and down. What am I doing? You're standing up. What am I doing? You're sitting down. Are you sitting down after the lesson? No, I don't sit down after the lesson, but I stand up after the lesson. What do we call the people in France? We call the people in France French. What do we call the things we wear on our hands? We call the things we wear on our hands a hat. Can't, cannot. What's the negative of can? The negative of can is cannot. What's the contraction of cannot? The contraction of cannot is can't. Can you speak Chinese? No, I can't speak Chinese. Can you put the table into your pocket? No, I can't put the table into my pocket. Can you touch the ceiling? No, I can't touch the ceiling.